Good morning and welcome to from your Campus2Congo, Conflict Minerals and Their Impact. It's really great to see you guys all here this morning, and thank you guys so much for coming last night as well. We're really excited for this weekend, and we hope you are too.
Hi everybody. So we're going to do a little thing right now to get everybody warmed up. So I want to know how many people here are from the East Coast? That's a lot of you. Okay, how many people are from the Midwest? And how many people are from the West Coast? Woo! California. Awesome. Okay, so thank you guys so much for coming, for being out last night for Congo. We're going to have lots of people in and out all throughout the day, so feel free to get to know lots of people. So today, you've probably all looked at the agenda, but we're going to be learning about a lot of stuff, which is awesome. As Congo said last night, it's one thing to learn about a problem, but it's another thing to learn how to fix it. So we're here to learn how to do that. So some of the things you're going to learn about today are the conflict in the Congo, gender violence and how that's a problem. We'll learn about supply chains, we'll learn about campus activism and how to really make your campus a tool for helping to fix some of these problems in the Congo. And as you all know, there is no silver bullet, so it's not like learning how to do this one thing is going to suddenly make peace in the Congo, but this is some way that we as students can tangibly make a difference, and so that's why we're all here, and I hope you all get a lot out of it. Anyone with a blue shirt like this probably means they're from Stanford Stand, so if you have any questions, ask us anything throughout the day, and we would be more than happy to help. So, yeah.
We want to take a quick minute to thank all our co-sponsors that have made this conference possible. First of all, STAND, which we're a chapter of, the Enough Project, the Freeman Spogli Institute at Stanford, International Relations Department, Stanford University Haas Center for Public Service, the Center for Comparative Studies of Race and Ethnicity. Those have all been big contributors, both in terms of logistics, helping this happen, contributing speakers, as well as contributing the money that it takes to put this all on. We have two student groups who were also generous enough to donate money, Students for a Sustainable Stanford and Engineers for a Sustainable World. And we have Stanford Says No to War and Muslim Student Awareness Network and Stanford in Government, who've also been kind enough to sponsor this conference.
So we're going to introduce the first speakers for the day. So the first panel is talking about kind of the history of conflict minerals in the Congo. We have two amazing speakers. So the first one is David Sullivan, who is the research director at the Enough Project, where he oversees field research and the production of reports on Sudan, the Eastern Congo, and the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army. He also helps guide Enough's analysis and policy recommendations to end genocide and crimes against humanity. So we're really thankful to have him out here today. Thank you so much for coming.
And our second panelist is Ben Brockman. He's a junior at UPenn and achieved quite a lot at his young age. He is leading Society for International Development at UPenn right now, and he will tell you more about what he's done. So, welcome, guys.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to, I think, stand to try to first of all, thanks to everybody for coming out here. Thanks to Stanford and Stand for everything you guys have done on this issue and for gathering everybody here this weekend. I'm really excited to be here. I think you've actually got, for better or for worse, you've got me twice today. So this morning I'm talking about the links between the minerals trade and the violence and the war in Congo. And then this afternoon, I think I'm actually talking about the history of the conflict there. So this is a little bit weird. Ben actually had me up at Penn a couple weeks ago, where I had a presentation that started with the history and then went to the links for the mineral trade. I've kind of split that in two and reversed it for today. So we can talk a lot about history a little bit later. What I want to do today is do a sort of general introduction of how the mineral trade in Eastern Congo has been fueling the conflict there. So looking specifically at what's been going on the ground and looking at the different ways, sort of complex and different ways that minerals fueling the conflict. So just to get started, I've got some maps. You can see Congo, a massive country surrounded by 9 borders in part of Africa, 60 million people roughly, about the size of Western Europe. Blessed and cursed with enormous mineral wealth. So this is some of these things are going to be really hard to see from here, so it's more just illustrative. But here you can see the various mineral reserves of Eastern Congo, of all of Congo, from Eastern Congo, Northern South Kivu up here, which we're going to be talking about, focusing on, but really throughout the whole country, enormous copper, cobalt, down here, southern Congo, Tanga, diamonds. And when you talk about Congo's natural resources, it's not just limited to minerals. The hydropower from the Congo River, the biodiversity of the Congo forest basin. This is a country that is blessed with enormous resources, but unfortunately has suffered from a history where those resources have, ever since the colonial era, continuously stoked violent intervention from abroad and extraction and exploitation of those resources. And at the same time, Congo's government has never really effectively represented or protected its people, and has instead really served as a vehicle for the personal exploitation and benefit from these resources rather than for the state. We're going to talk a lot more about that later on today, so I'm just going to move on. But when we're talking about conflict minerals, as we talk about them today, what we're really looking at is actually a subset of Congo's mineral wealth, concentrated in the areas where there's been ongoing conflict now for well over a decade. And we're talking about the provinces principally of North and South Kivu. You can sort of see them over here bordering Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi. I've heard that the area is roughly the equivalent of the state of California. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but it gives you some of a sense of order of magnitude. Here's a map that is going to be totally impossible for you to see, but which was compiled last year by the U.S. State Department as a first attempt at looking at militarization of mining resources in Eastern Congo. And so there are these tiny little guys that represent armed groups and these tiny little symbols that represent different resources spread out throughout this extremely very vast and remote area. What we're really talking about is 4 resources. What we call the 3 T's, tin, tantalum, and tungsten, as well as gold. Tantalum is often called coltan, that's what it's called in Eastern Congo. Tin ore is called cassiterite. Tungsten is also called wolframite, so those are some of the terms that sometimes get kicked around, just as kind of an introductory. I'm going to sort of quickly go through what the supply chain looks like. I think some of the other speakers today are going to go over this in a lot more detail, but just to situate this in the global supply chain before talking about what are the dynamics on the ground in Eastern DRC. We've kind of summed up 6 steps from the mines in Eastern Congo to our mobile phones and electronics and other electronic devices. Starting at the mines, going to traders who purchase from the mines in Eastern Congo, exporters, or comptoirs in Eastern Congo, who are the ones who export the minerals out of the DRC. Usually through Congo's neighbors, Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, Tanzania, and on to the refiners and processors or smelters, who are the ones that take this raw mineral ore and process it into refined metals, which are then sold on to a whole range of manufacturers for use in high-tech and other